Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Spiritual Spotlight series. Today, I am joined by Deanna Scaldaferri. She is the owner of Healing Hands by Deanna. Thank you so much for coming on the Spiritual Spotlight series. I'm really happy you're here.
Thank you so much, Rachel. I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
So, we're going to jump right in. So, Deanna, can you maybe share with us what inspired you to transition from the corporate world to offering spiritual and healing services?
Yes, absolutely. Very different worlds for sure.
Amen. Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
exactly. Which is really funny. My family and friends thought I was crazy when I said I'm going to enroll in massage school. And they were like, you have a degree in international business and you've worked in the corporate environment. So yeah, needless to say, there was a lot of kickback, but well, it was kind of a journey. It wasn't an overnight decision, but I had worked in the corporate environment and financial services for a bit. And then I was very blessed and lucky to be home, a stay-at-home mom with my three boys. And I loved that time so much. But when it was time to go back to work, when they were school age, I just realized I didn't want to go back to the corporate setting. It was fine. I just never felt very like satisfied or fulfilled, like I was doing something that was just really satisfying to me. So I did a bit of soul searching, and I've always loved receiving massages. When my kids were little, that's all I ever asked for Christmas and my birthday was like, please just give me a massage. It makes me feel so great. So I did have a kind of a light bulb moment when I was receiving massage during that soul searching time. And I said, you know what? Like, I think I might really enjoy making somebody else feel this great, when they leave. And so I kind of started on that journey, and just everything fell into place because there was a massage school that was right there and they could do part-time because I had my kids. And so, I'm a big believer in that when the path kind of opens up before you, it's meant to happen. If you hit a bunch of different challenges, it's kind of like, well, maybe this isn't the right thing. But it was a huge leap of faith for me, for sure. When I first
Yeah.
started, I thought, gosh, I pray I like this, right? Because it was out of my wheelhouse, but I did. I immediately loved it. And I loved feeling just the joy of helping people in this way.
I love that. And one of the things that you emphasize is creating a safe and trusting space for your clients. Now, I feel like for someone like myself, I don't necessarily feel comfortable getting massages. I think looking at your website, I'm like, oh, I would probably sign up for her. So,
Okay.
can you maybe describe how you cultivate this environment and its importance in healing?
That's a great point, Rachel. And again, well, so just as a side note, basically massage introduced me into energy healing.
Yeah.
I'm a Reiki master, and I say that because everything is energy, and everything is a feeling, right? So I believe when people go to my website or they meet me in person, they feel naturally comfortable with me, which I'm proud of, and that's just one of my God-given traits of being empathetic and compassionate, and offering that space. So I do get that a lot, that people naturally feel comfortable with me and trusting, and that's literally the cornerstone of what I do. If someone is going to get a massage and undress and get on a table, like, it's a very vulnerable position type of thing. The same with energy work. You're
Mm.
putting yourself in a vulnerable spot, and not everyone is comfortable doing that. So that is why I speak about it, but I practice it, that trust and honesty, authenticity, those are really the pillars of what I do in my work, because I want people to feel comfortable. I want people to feel safe, and that they can trust me.
I love that you just said, this is how intuitive Deanna is. So she just said the cornerstone of like massage therapy. That's the cornerstone of her practice. And my next question is, massage therapy is a cornerstone of your services.
I love it. We're in sync.
I love this. And the one thing I do want to say, and we're going to talk about more, Deanna offers a lot of different services, and we're going to make sure that we touch on quite a bit of them. So can you
Sure.
maybe elaborate on how massage therapy contributes to emotional and spiritual well-being in addition to physical health?
Yes, I love that question, Rachel. I am a huge believer in the mind, body, spirit connection. And it's funny because I feel like when I first, got licensed as a massage therapist, that was actually what I put on my very first business card, was like the trifecta, like the
Yeah.
of mind, body, spirit. And I didn't even know why, to be honest, right? It was really funny. And now, like, I scream that from the mountaintops, because when you get a massage, yes, you are having a physical experience, the muscle manipulation, and there's so many different benefits. Of course, it calms the nervous system, increases circulation, helps with, reducing anxiety, stress, all of those things. So you're working on the physical plane. However, once I got into energy work, I realized, no, there's so much more to this, because someone can come for, I say simply, or just a massage, right? But I know that they're getting emotional, mental, and spiritual healing, whether they recognize it or not. Because again, when someone's in physical pain can attribute to emotional pain, where when you're in pain, you're miserable, right? Like, you don't feel good. It can create anxiety, depression, all of these things. And the reverse is true as well. If you are suffering emotionally or spiritually, where for various reasons, grief or whatever's going on in your world, oftentimes that then comes out into your physical body, where suddenly you have, a chronic pain that you never had before. And I see it so often on my table, where people will say, I've had this chronic pain in my body. I have no idea where it came from. It's different if you had an injury or an illness, right? But then it's so funny to me, because then I'll say, oh, okay. So then they said they've been to every doctor and they can't figure out what is wrong, but they still feel this pain, right? And then I dig a little deeper, and it's like, oh, okay, well, what else is going on in your world, And then suddenly it's like peeling back the layers of the onion. It's like, oh, well, I just lost my grandmother, and oh, well, my kid is having a hard time at school, and oh, well, and they start like revealing all these other things that I know contribute to that. I mean, stress, we know that in theory, but I see it every day, where stress and anxiety and depression, all those things contribute to our physical pains and our physical body. So it's all connected.
It really is. I don't think people realize how much the body keeps a score. And,
Yes.
with you being a Reiki master and being an energy healer, I love that plays such a significant role in your practice. So, for those that are unfamiliar, can you maybe explain a little bit about what is Reiki and how it promotes healing?
It's my favorite question ever.
I love that.
I literally, Rachel, when people ask me, what is Reiki? I'm like, oh boy, here we go. Okay. It's my favorite question, just because my life, both personally and professionally, has been changed by Reiki.
Love that.
And so I love to share it. I love to share it, because I know that it can help so many people on so many different levels. So I like to explain it that Reiki is a Japanese form of energy healing. There's other types, right? But Reiki is what I practice. I practice holy fire, Reiki. And basically the concept is that we're all made of energy, right? And there's energy in our body, there's energy around us, right? Even when, you go to a city and you say, oh, wow, I like the vibe of this city, right?
Yes.
That's energy, right? When you meet someone new and you say either like, oh, wow, we instantly connected, or, oh, something was a little off, that's all energy, right? So basically, let's say, we'll start with, if you have a physical pain in your body, let's say you have, chronic pain in your knee, and whatever you do, it's just not working. Well, the energy is stuck in that area, wherever you're feeling the physical pain. So what Reiki energy does is basically moves that energy, so it gets like unstuck, so that your life force energy, your chi, whatever you want to call it, is moving normally again.
Yeah.
So the same is true if you're suffering from more of an emotional or mental pain, if you have many mental illness type of thing, or if, many of us suffer with grief, whether it's your pet or a person or a relationship, that energy gets stuck in your heart space. And people say, like, with a heavy heart, well, it's real, right? And so what Reiki can do is, again, move that energy so it is not stagnant in your body and flows normally again. I'm very visual, so I like to use the example, because I feel like people can just resonate with it. I use the example of, if you're on a highway and you have, like 4 lanes in a highway going one way, 4 lanes going the other way, and all the cars are moving normally and everything is good. And then suddenly there's an accident, right? And then everything gets backed up. Everything is stuck, right? So then EMS, fire trucks come, remove the accident and clear it up so that everything can flow normally again.
I have to say that is an amazing visual way to put how your energetic system gets clogged up. So
Yeah.
that is amazing the way that you put
Yeah.
that. I love that. I
Thank
have
you.
chills. I'm like,
Thank
and I'm not a visual person, so I
Okay.
love that. I'm like, I'm as soon as we're finished, I'll be like, I'm gonna message my friend and be like, hey, just so you know,
Yes,
I love
exactly.
the way that you put that. That
Thank you so much. I'm proud. I came up with that one on my own.
it's honestly, it's perfect. And I feel like people don't realize how much your energetic system plays a part in everything that's going on around you, within you. And I also, in an energy healing healer, I do something different than what you do, which I think is great because it complements Reiki very much so. And it's so true. Like when you clean that out and get that energy going, people just have these aha, like, oh,
It's
you can
amazing.
flow so much easier and you're so much more open. I love that.
Yes, that's exactly it, Rachel. It's a release. I
Yeah.
mean, people can have a specific intention of something they want to release from their
Mhm.
body, or sometimes they don't know what they need to release, but regardless, it
Right.
helps them. It can help with focus and clarity of next steps in your life. Like I have just seen such amazing things that's why I'm saying I love talking about it
I
because
love
I
it.
know I know it helps people,
I love
right?
it. I love how passionate you are about Reiki as well. Like people that really truly are, they love Reiki, they love Reiki. Like
Yes.
it's amazing because it's such a wonderful healing modality that it's becoming more well known now. And you see a lot of offices, doctors' offices that are starting to, go into more like complementary services, alternative services, and energy healing. I think in the next couple of years, we're going to be like, oh, yeah, here's a script to go see Deanna and get an energy cleansing along
I
with the massage therapy.
Rachel, from your lips to God's ears, because that is exactly where I pray that it goes, because
Yeah.
exactly that. It's almost like Western medicine is meeting Eastern and more
Yes.
alternative and holistic options, because I do think that, perhaps there could be a stigma with energy healing. Like, what is that? People are scared. People are scared of what they don't know, right? And
Absolutely.
that's why I'm loving that. It's happening more and more where people are asking about it. Well, what is it? And then whenever anyone asks, when they come to me for a massage and they ask about Reiki, I always will say, well, if you're open to it, I'd love to end with a little bit to kind of give you a little taste of
I
what it
love
is, because
that.
I want them to kind of experience
Yeah.
it. And more often than not, people will say, yeah, sure, absolutely. And I just feel on a larger scale, more of a collective scale, I feel like people are searching for spiritual direction and
Yes.
healing in alternative ways, because whatever is going on in the world, modern day world, like it's just not working,
It's
right?
it's very chaotic, and the energy that's coming onto the planet now is really calling for a lot of people who have blinders on to take them off and to awaken. So,
Exactly.
and the services that you offer are going to help people go through this journey without having a traumatic experience, because awakening can be very difficult, lonely, isolating. And I love that you offer so many different services. And one of the cool services that you offer is that you do a home and office energetic clearing. Can you maybe explain what this involves and what benefit might it provide?
Okay, actually, yes. Again, I have so many favorites. I was going to say, like, my absolute favorite is my Reiki infused massage, because it lets me
Yeah.
blend both massage and energy work. But the home or office clearing is again, for me, it's fun, right? And I sometimes have to be careful, because when people call or request that, they're in like a desperate state,
Yes. They're like,
like, right,
and you're like,
exactly. And I get excited. I'm like, this is awesome. Like, yes, sign me up. But basically, on a serious note, people, again, the same way we talked about energy in the body,
yeah.
well, it's the same for your home, your work environment, your car, anywhere that
Mhm.
you are, that energy can just get stuck. So, again, there's myriad of examples, but let's say in your home, there's maybe relationship problems or whatever it is, or your child is struggling with something. Again, that energy gets held in the house, right?
Yes.
And it's very heavy, it's very negative, it's very toxic. So basically what I'll do is I'll come in and I use my bag of tricks, with sage and Palo Santo, and and meditation and intention, because everything about energy is about your intention, what you're looking to do. I come in from a place of love and wanting to help the person clear out that more negative, heavy, dense energy, so that then they can not only feel better, sleep better, just kind of like, it brings everything to neutral, really. And actually not even neutral, brings everything to a more positive frequency, because that's what energy is. It's a frequency, like on a radio, where you tune in, and some people resonate at a certain frequency, and anger, hurt, disappointment, sadness, all of those things are very heavy, negative emotions. They're at a lower frequency. When you have things like compassion and love and, kindness, those are at a higher frequency.
I love that. I always want to be love or above with whatever vibration that I'm at.
I love that.
And I will say that I actually run a doctor's office in my day life. I'm a registered nurse. And what's interesting is I'm very mindful to set the energetic tone of the office. So
Yes.
you can tell when it's heavy and it's stuck, and it's like you see Rachel going around with the Palo Santo and the crystals, and they're like,
Yes.
and then like, because January is a weird month. I don't know about for you, but January can be a weird month for a lot of people. So I reset our entire office to, I put up affirmations, be the energy you want to attract, be, like everything. And honestly, it's the first time I always decorate my office with, holidays and whatnot. And this is the first time that I actually had providers coming to me saying, I really like what you put up. I really
Mm.
like the vibe. I really like the energy. It's only been 8 years, guys, that I've worked there, but
But finally getting recognized for it, right?
I mean,
Right?
they love coming to my office because it's calming and they'll hold the crystals. But I love that you offer that service, because so many people don't realize. Yeah,
Yes, I'm like, exactly. It's all part of it.
and to bring an additional tool, like, hey, I'm feeling like this energy is stuck or heavy. And the fact that you offer that service, I think that's amazing.
Yes.
Another amazing, go ahead.
I'm sorry, can I just piggyback for a second on that? Is that
Of
I
course.
love that, because exactly, it can set the tone in your workspace as well. So I
Yes.
work one day a week at a chiropractor. I massage and do Reiki there. And it's so funny, because the chiropractor who I love, he always says, I always know when you're here, Deanna, because when he walks in, I've done my Palo Santo and I've like set
Yes.
my intention. And I know that him and every patient that walks through the door, or every worker there, like, feel that, because exactly that, you're setting the tone for the office space.
Well, you brought up a very good point. Energy follows intention. And if you're setting the intention and setting the space to vibrate at a certain frequency, that energy is going to meet that intention. So
Absolutely.
it's such a valuable thing that you do that. Now, one of the things that you do is you actually lead a support group. So you lead the Narcissist Abuse Recovery of Charlotte Meetup Group. I think that's really cool. Can you share how this group supports individuals and the role of healing practices in recovery?
Absolutely. Okay, so just to give just a tiny bit of
Of
background
course,
there,
tell us.
because you'd look at that and it's on my website, and you say, well, okay, well, where does that fit into, massage and Reiki type of thing? But it kind of just evolved naturally, organically. So I have been on a personal spiritual journey for the last 7 years of my life. And I've had a lot of, pretty traumatic things that have happened that
Yeah.
have caused me to awaken. But it's, again, when you look at something bad, what has come of it is just absolute beauty, really, because it has helped shape me into who I am and what I'm doing to help other people. So I myself have suffered from narcissistic abuse.
Mm.
And I just got to a space where I've done so much work on myself for my own healing, that I got to a place where I said, I want to be able to help other people. I want to be able to use my pain and suffering, right? It was with purpose. It was with, purpose to help other people. I could just say, well, okay, I'm doing much better and I'm healing myself and my family, but I just kept getting called higher. Like, it didn't stop there. So, and to be honest, I had wished for a group like this, like for myself, right? And so I kind of squirreled that away in the back of my head and said, when I'm in a better place, I want to be able to start this group. So which is exactly what I did. I used Meetup as the platform. And it's going to be in May. It'll be 2 years now that I've been running that group. I just started. It's been 6 months that I'm now running the same group in Raleigh, which is another whole story. It's been I've been in awe of how it has evolved. But basically started the group, and it started just very small and intimate, and it has grown, and there's over 500 members in Charlotte on already over 100 members in Raleigh, which is amazing. So basically that has then helped me now add in more intuitive coaching into my practice, right? Because again, I was massage and energy work. And now, because I recognized at some point that was basically what I was doing. It was group coaching. Again, from a place of, I've been there, from experience, but also from a place in my heart of wanting to help, right? It's a passion. So that then evolved into, I also had the thought, it's not a coincidence that many of the people who end up on my massage table are suffering from this kind of abuse. It's emotional abuse, emotional and verbal abuse. And I thought, I'm coaching people on my table. I'm coaching people in a group. So then I started taking a coaching course online, because I figured, let me just add that to the mix of my toolbox of what I can do to help people as well.
I think that's amazing. Now, you just kind of touched upon that you do transformational life coaching. So this is in your practice, and how does it complement your other healing services?
Okay, that's a great question. I feel like, again, there's a lot of life coaches out there, right? And people are specific about, some are business coaches, some are more, personal coaches, relationship coaches, that kind of thing. For me, I feel like what has, again, evolved, but what I've been drawn to is more where I say transformational life coach, it's more intuitive coaching, meaning that when someone comes to me and they have an issue that they're struggling with, I can tune in, right, with my Reiki and my intuitive practice. I can tune into what they're going through and try to help them through it. So I feel like I come from a spiritual angle with coaching.
And what I also like is, though, you also have corporate experience. So you can still blend in that, corporate background and being empathetic to somebody who maybe is in a corporate setting that is struggling, and you can intuitively tap into that as well, which I love that you can blend in. That's, yes, you have your own business. Now you also can blend that in too. I'm having a moment in my brain. Like you can blend in a lot of different services, because you're able to sympathize and empathize with where they are right now, because you've been there, you've done that.
Absolutely, Rachel. And actually, if I may just speak a moment on that, I also feel, I feel that I'm relatively young. My children will tell you differently. My 3 teenage boys, like to tell me that I'm so old. But I feel that in my, 40 something years of experience of life on this earth, I have been through a lot of different things, a lot of very diverse and some heavy and some, normal, like, again, working in a financial setting. But I feel like that comes into play because a lot of people who come to me for any of my services, but specifically for coaching, I have the relatability. I can relate to a lot of people, and again, on a myriad of things, grief, narcissistic abuse, divorce, death, caretaking for people. Like, there's just so many different things that I've been through personally that I feel that personal experience plus the intuitiveness and the empathy together just really, really helps people feel like they're heard, they're seen, and I hope certainly helps them.
I love that. I do want to pivot back to massage therapy just for a second.
Sure.
So you offer a very wide variety of specialized massage therapies, including cancer oncology massage and hospice comfort massage. How do you tailor these services to meet the unique needs of these clients?
Those 2 specific
You can
services?
talk about all of it, whatever you feel called to do. I love the fact that you do hospice comfort massage, because as a former hospice nurse, I just think
Wow.
that's phenomenal that you offer that service.
Wow. Well, thank you, Rachel. I didn't know that about you. And I feel there's a special place in heaven for hospice nurses
And
and
for you too, offering a hospice service. It's such a I'm going to go off on my soapbox here of hospice is an amazing service that it's sad because usually 50%, one out of two people that go on hospice services will pass away within 3 days. And it's like you can be on hospice services for such a long time that people
Yes.
don't know what they don't know, because
Yeah.
hospice can be scary, that's the scary thing. But go ahead, please answer the question.
Exactly, exactly. Well, you're going to touch on a very tender point for me in my life. So, my mom was actually diagnosed with pancreatic cancer about 7 years ago, and which is, pretty much one of the worst of the worst. But she
Yeah.
lasted almost 9 months, and at the end, she was in home hospice for about a month. And so that's where, again, I speak from the personal experience. But what I recognize, and it is now I can look back, after a lot of my own
Yeah.
process, my journey of grief of losing my mom, was that at the end, I was massaging her hands and her feet, which I know offered her comfort and peace and
Yeah.
calm. And I knew that from the massage side, but then of course, as a daughter. So after that, I recognized, wow, what a special gift that I can give someone who is dying and just is in their last days, in pain. And if, again, it speaks to my heart of service and wanting to help people, because if I note that I'm able to do that, which again is not easy, because I've done it, for, again, my mom, but also for strangers. And it's tapping into that empathetic and compassionate piece of my
Yes.
heart as a human, right?
Yeah.
Of just trying to offer some peace and comfort to someone who's in their last days. And it's been, again, it's hard. It's definitely difficult and it's emotional, but at the same time, I feel like, well, that's what I'm here to do, is help people. Yeah.
I love that you're willing to hold space for somebody that is, in the process of passing away. And death with dignity is such an important thing that we need to offer to, somebody that could be transitioning. I always
Yes.
think of death as just a doorway. So
Yeah.
it's the fact that you offer such a compassionate service for somebody that is, it's painful, it's scary, it's, and you can hold that space, because that healing doesn't just go for the person that you're physically touching or you're working with. It also goes to the family,
Absolutely.
to give a specific, and I'll sit with your mom for a little while. I'll give her a nice massage, take a
Yes.
break.
Yes,
I love that you do that.
exactly. Exactly. And actually, if I may,
Of
just from what
course.
you speak to about,
Yeah.
holding that space, I had a situation with a person, and she was a stranger to me, and I massaged her a few times while she was in hospice, and it was so beautiful. And this is what I love about what I do and why I love doing what I do, because again, you're right. People think of death as being scary, but at the same time, like, I was very conscious of the fact that I was there holding
Yeah.
that sacred space for her. Like, this woman is about to die.
Yeah.
And again, we all fear death and all of that, right? But for me personally, it was so beautiful. Like, I just felt like I was so blessed to hold that space for this person.
And I think the more conversations that we have, the more practitioners that are saying, look, I offer this service. Look, I
Yeah.
offer this service. There's death doulas. And I think the more, accepting of death as a society will become, and then we'll be able to honor the dying with so much more dignity and compassion and
Yes,
grace and ease. And sorry.
absolutely.
That's my tangent. But I love that you offer
Absolutely.
that service. I love that you offer that service.
Thank
And
you.
I'm sorry
Thank
for the loss
you.
of your mom. I do have a question though about this.
Yes.
So your journey of kind of going from corporate to spiritual, they do say that when something, and you've gone through some tragedies and like you said, some traumatic moments, would you liken those events now looking back as rocket fuel for your ascension and your awakening process?
That's a fantastic question, Rachel. And absolutely, because now I have, over 6 years of hindsight, right? Everything looking back
Yeah.
in hindsight, right? When you're going through something terrible. And these last 7 years really have been full of, cancer and pain and
Yeah.
grief and narcissistic abuse and divorce and all of these awful things that nobody wants to go through,
Yeah, you
right?
don't. Yeah.
Um, I can now sit with gratitude. And again, I never would have thought that I would be saying this even, but I can now look back and say, I am actually grateful for each and every one of those situations. Even the loss of both my parents. I lost both of my parents actually within 48 hours. And that's a whole other story. Yeah, well, it was, my mom had passed and we were expecting that. And then my dad, the broken heart syndrome you hear about,
You
I
do.
lived it. Yeah, because within 48 hours, he went into cardiac arrest and passed. And so it was pretty traumatic for not just me, my children, our whole family, my siblings. So the point is, even though I miss them here on earth, I know that their passing was exactly like, I love that how you say that, the rocket fuel for my spiritual awakening and ascension, because so many things that have happened now since then, I just recognize if I wasn't in the spiritual space, it would be so different. And I can honestly say, and I say this to people, and again, whether they understand or believe me or not, like, I miss my parents here on earth, but they have helped me more these past few years of going through my own hardships from above, from heaven, whatever
Yeah.
you believe, right, than they ever could have here on this planet. So I am very, very grateful.
I love that you're able to articulate the fact that your parents are helping you from the other side. Like, I
Yes.
just think that's amazing. And the fact that you've gone through loss of both your parents, gone through narcissistic abuse, gone through divorce, gone through all of these things, and yet you still have such a positive, healthy, open mindset that you're like, yes, now I can look back at this and say, I'm grateful for the lessons that this taught me. And
Yes.
it's a struggle. We're not saying it's easy. You didn't do any spiritual bypassing, but you're able to dig in and do the work. And now you're like, okay, now I can help others.
Absolutely, Rachel. And that's actually what my intention is what I tune into for each and every session, whether it's an individual session with someone for whatever, like I said, massage, Reiki, coaching, or if it's a group session.
Yeah.
I really tune into the fact that, look, everybody has trials and challenges in their lives. And yes, some are worse than others, right? Some are really traumatic. But we do have a choice, right? People stay stuck in those emotions. They could stay stuck in grief and anger for the rest of their lives,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
But it is a conscious choice that you make the decision to say, okay, well, this happened. It wasn't fun. It wasn't pretty, right? However, I choose not to stay stuck in this. I choose to be positive and move on in a healthy direction. So I know that I've done that, and I've come out the other side so much happier and healthier. And I believe that everybody has that capability. So if I'm here to help people, even just inspire or offer that hope that it is possible to move past whatever you're dealing with in your life, then I'm grateful.
I love that. Now, before I ask you the last question, you have generously offered a discount code to our listeners. So
Yes.
if you could tell us what the discount code is and how can they best utilize this opportunity to begin their healing journey with you?
Absolutely. Yes, I'm happy to offer that. So if you go onto my website, which I guess I'll give you at this point too, it's www.healinghandsbydeanna.com. When you can do everything online as far as choose your service. My calendar is live on there. So, find a time that works for you, and also book it, check out, and pay all within, so it's all streamlined. So at the checkout, you can offer, I'm offering the coupon code of Rachel's listeners, right? For a 10% discount on any of my services.
That is amazing. That is such a nice offer. That's so nice. I'm like, so nice.
From
And
my heart.
so sweet. Now, final question. Looking ahead, how do you see your practice evolving? And are there any new services or initiatives you're excited about introducing?
Oh, yes, that's a great question. Well, I am currently, it's kind of a little secret, but I'm currently in the works. I am now headed into, again, I trust my intuition more than anything at this point in my life. So I go where I'm guided, I go where the signs go, where I'm led. And I feel I'm being called next into the public speaking arena. to basically share my message of not only hope and inspiration of what I've been through, but also raising awareness for narcissistic abuse, because I think in the world we live in today, there is a definite need for that message for healthy versus unhealthy relationships. Because I've recognized that I see a lot of people on the back end where they're recovering from either,
Right.
you know, a bad relationship, an abusive relationship. And I want to be on the more preventative side to be able to raise awareness and educate people of, you know, red flags and what's healthy, what's not. So that basically it's like, rather than taking medicine, taking supplements, vitamins beforehand type of thing.
Yes.
So that is coming. That is coming.
Yes.
And it won't be, you know, it won't be a specific service that someone can
Right.
book, but it will be a service that I'll be providing and offering on a bigger scale. So
I
it can
love
affect a
that.
lot of people.
I love that. I love that. Well, Deanna, I look forward to seeing you on the national stage.
Yes,
And thank you
absolutely.
so much for coming to the Spiritual Spotlight series. You have been amazing to talk to today. Thank you so much again.
Thank you so much, Rachel, for having me. It's been so fun.